What is up, fight fans? It's been a while. Welcome to episode 377 of the Neutral Corner Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Michael Montero, rocking my Detroit Lions cap. Got the W last night against the Packers. 12-1 now, 11 in a row. This is crazy. So we haven't done a show since October. It's been a while. And there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about today. All right. We got a lot to review. We got a lot to preview. We got the biggest event, biggest fight of the year coming up in just a couple of weeks. So we got plenty to discuss. We're going to catch up. It's going to be great. Oh, man, we got Samir in the chat who says, go Packers. Samir, do you want to get blocked? Bro, I just started. Don't mess with me. Okay, guys. But before we get into my spiel, where we're going to catch up on everything and preview everything, I want to bring on a couple of guests, and we're going to talk about some Kronk boxing real quick. All right, guys, let's bring them on. We've got John Lepak, member of the original Kronk team back in the day. Kronk, trained at the old school Kronk gym, former assistant to Emmanuel Stewart, current partner at the new Kronk, which is being relaunched. A lot of news coming up with Kronk, guys, and I'm going to be covering it for the magazine, for Ring Magazine, in the months and really years to come. So there's so much cool news coming. We're going to give you a little bit, just a little nugget today with John Lepak and Theo Chambers, former Kronk fighter under the tutelage of Emmanuel Stewart, Theo Chambers, and all the great champions of that era. Current partner at Kronk as well. And he also just so happens to train a guy you might have heard of, Jake Paul. And we're going to talk about that. So let's bring these guys on. All right. John, Third, what's up, guys?
I'm doing well, Mike. Did we lose Third?
Third was having trouble with his phone. Well, we'll see if he could jump back on. Let me text him. Let me text him real quick.
Well, while you're doing that, listen, thanks for having us on. Really appreciate all your coverage of Kronk and your support over the years, Mike, and especially being an East Side Detroit guy yourself. I know that it's near and dear to our hearts. And go Lions, absolutely.
Hell yeah, baby. That was a great W last. Hey, man, they're winning the close games, which historically for our whole life they never did. So it's so I'm telling you, man, it's looking like a Super Bowl team. But okay, we'll see if Theo can get on, if Third can get on. Hopefully he can, because I want to talk to him about Jake especially. But you guys have a signing coming up now. Can we talk about that yet? Can we talk about that publicly, or should we keep that on ice for a minute?
We'll keep that on ice for a minute.
Okay.
But let's just say that Third and I right now, we've got a couple of gold pair of trunks getting made and a couple of the old school white terry cloth robes. So
Third's next week, right?
Yeah, Third's actually getting ready to hit the highway this weekend with I believe he might be with Jake Strake, the coach right now in Detroit. They're going to scout some talent as well. So exciting things coming. And we had a good talk with legal this morning. So we're inching that much closer to finalizing the deal on the new Kronk gym returning to Detroit. So you'll be right there, Mike, breaking the news.
I can't wait, man. It's been hard to bite my tongue. I've been wanting to talk about it because, we've been you and I have been talking about it offline for a while, but it's going to be, it's just such an exciting time for Detroit, man. And boxing lovers around the world know Joe Louis. I won't go into detail, but when they see what's coming with Kronk and dude, it's people are going to love it. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to break it.
When we're to reference the Lions, with Dan Gamble or Campbell, who's known as Dan Gamble around these parts of town.
Yeah.
And it ties in with the Kronk style, where Emmanuel Stewart was always, go for that knockout. And I think there's a lot of similar comparisons to Dan Campbell's style of coaching and what Emmanuel Stewart in the original Kronk style. When it's 4th and inches, you go for it.
Shit, when it's 4th and 8, they go for it. Man, there was a 4th down that they went for it on the goal line yesterday. And I was watching the game with my wife, and I was like, that shit took balls. That took some big balls.
Yeah, I saw some of the memes going around today, with the wheelbarrow in front of them. But
yeah, man.
Definitely.
But that's a great comparison to Emmanuel. I didn't even think about that, man. But you're so right. And I think that's why Campbell has he's like just become this beloved figure in Detroit. Oh, we got Third
There
on.
he is.
Hey, man, what's going on, y'all?
What's up, man? You figure it out?
Yeah, man. Man, this stuff is crazy. Hey, man, this stuff is something else. Paste, copy, this, that. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, man. And driving at the same time.
Yeah, John, he was telling me, he goes, because he said, do I accept cookies? I'm like, yeah. He goes, man, I kept denying that shit. I'm like, that's accept cookies. It'll go in. So, all right, we got it figured out. All
Yeah.
right, look, Third, I want to get right into this Jake Paul thing.
Okay.
And I know you've been interviewed about him a million times and you get the same old questions. I want to hit right on something that
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen the memes and the videos with the Tyson fight. People saying that it was a fixed fight.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you say
Man.
to that? What do
Well,
you say to that?
well, you know, I mean, I would tell those people to do a 4-month training camp. Uh, uh, put on some 8-ounce gloves, 10-ounce gloves. Then, let me be the judge of them. Doing fake matches like that. So, like basically, like what I'm saying is, those are people that ain't never put on a pair of like what's boxing gloves before. Now,
Mhm.
now, but people of like boxing that like knows that it wasn't fixed. Now, basically, they can say, well, Tyson held back, or basically, what's Jake held back. They can say what they want to say, but like, hey, um, uh, what's the Jake Paul is a 27-year-old man, and Mike Tyson is 58 years old, and
Mhm.
like his stamina, his reflexes, like I mean like not the same, and like we do that. So like we played. A part of our game plan was to play on Father Time, but still, if like this, or anybody get hit by Mike Tyson, will go to sleep. Still, I'm even at 58 years old.
Mhm.
So
And
Yeah.
I'll say this,
the
Mike,
fight wasn't fixed.
on the tail end of that, if you look behind me at these posters, each one of them has a credential. Inside that credential with my name on it, it says promoter. So trust me, you have someone speaking from the inside of the business of promoting major fights where there are millions of dollars on the line, and the head trainer of Jake Paul. And that's just ridiculous. And I'll also leave this for the record too. As much as I love Mike, did anyone think he was going to get any better 20 some odd years after these last two fights over here?
Mhm.
It was what it was. Like Third said, that's father time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I'm known as the boxing guy by all my neighbors, friends, family members. They come to me with questions, anything related to
Yeah.
boxing, right?
Yeah.
And so people keep coming up to me, yo, you think that was fixed? And I'm like, no, it was an old man against a young man. If anyone held back, it was Jake showing respect for Mike, because I
Yeah.
personally believe Jake could have knocked him out in the first round if he wanted to. That's what I saw. And I've been in the ring like you
Well,
two gentlemen have. And I don't say that like
yeah.
Jake pulled a stunt. I'm saying he showed respect for Mike and just tried to put on a show for the fans. That's what I saw. That's just my opinion.
No.
But my
No.
friends, they'll be like, nah, that was
Yeah.
fixed. It was fixed. Tyson held back. You see him on the heavy bag for 30 seconds on Instagram. And I'm like, man, people are so gullible. And I'm like, why even ask me if you already think you know the answer? But anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but still, like you said, heavy bag. Uh, the Jake Paul is not a heavy bag.
Right.
I mean, he's not. I mean, he's not just sitting there, hanging from a ceiling.
Right. Swinging back and forth and those clips are 10 seconds. They're 10
Right.
seconds. It's not those rounds are 2 minutes. And people are like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a short round. Okay, you get in there for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
See how you feel. You'll
Right.
be puffing and puffing in 20 seconds. So
Right. 20 seconds. You're right.
but Third, let me ask you about
Yeah.
this. I know I've heard you on different interviews talk about Jake and his work ethic, in that if you
Yeah.
say, hey, be in the gym at 8, he's there at 7:50. right? And things like that. Other than his work ethic and dedication to boxing, and he has shown that he truly wants to learn this sport and live the life.
Yeah.
What else has impressed you and surprised you about him that people don't really realize?
Well, I think that they do realize is like, but like, I just don't. But I think that they just don't want to give him his credit for it. That his ability to learn fast, and it's okay. It's like this with me. Like if like say you go look at a okay, who said something about fighting Jake? That was Andre Ward.
They've all called him out now.
Okay, now okay. It's like this. Why would you call out any fighter and basically like you was once considered a pound for pound Olympian? I, why would you call out someone with only 11 fights? Now, if like say if you go look at a Floyd Mayweather and I'm what's his name Adrian Broner first 10, 12 fights. Now, none of them are done it in a way as like this guy Jake Paul has.
Yeah,
None
that's such a great point. I
in
mean, you
history.
could look at Canelo Alvarez, his first 10, 15 fights. You could look at Tank Davis, pretty much every fighter.
Oscar De La Hoya.
There you go. Yeah, every American fighter.
Look at his first 10, 12 fights, and
Right.
you tell me what pay-per-view blockbusters have they fought with the same caliber as fight as they are on. Okay, yes. Jake Paul is not on the same caliber as a Oscar De La Hoya. Like he didn't have 200 amateur fights, 15 nationals, and he went to the Olympics. Now, and even still, those guys are fighting cab drivers, MMA guys, 4 wins, 12 losses in their first 12 fights. Now, so man, you tell me what route Jake is taking different from basically anybody like that, except he's cash cow ever since day one of him turning uh, professional. And that's just the fucking difference. Like basically, he's getting all this attention, and he only got 11 fights to his name of his 27 years on this earth.
And he was one amateur fight, right? Was it one amateur
fight? Yeah,
See, I think that's the biggest thing, Third. And John, you could speak on this if you want to. But that one amateur fight, you brought up like De La Hoya, who had hundreds of amateur fights, right? So Jake's learning on the job. Exactly. This is his amateur career and pro career all together. And I mean, really, you think of how many kids come up and they have 11, 12 amateur fights by the time they're 13, 14 years old. I know kids in the gym like that. And he's doing it now as an adult. So I think people don't give him enough credit. I think a lot of people just simply do not give him enough credit. We've seen the celebrity boxers before. A lot of them hit the heavy bag at LA Fitness for 3 months, and then they call himself a fighter. Jake's been living the life. He's been down there in Puerto Rico living the life for a while.
Man, listen. Jake Paul get his boxing experience from sparring in the gym, staying in the gym 6 months, 4 months, 5 months. Like say normally a fighter will go in. Well, no, normally a 12-round fighter will go in camp in like 10 to 12 weeks out. Jake is really he should be a 6-round fighter, but maybe touching 8 rounders. Like, he's fought 10 rounders already, and so I'm now the people of the world is trying to push him to go fight the fucking a powerful pound or a man in the last 10 years. Now,
Right.
now, is that fair?
Here's what. So I'll play devil's advocate. I
Yeah.
completely understand what you're saying, and I completely agree. But the haters will say he's headlining pay-per-views. He's getting paid millions of dollars. All these other prospects coming up are getting $500, $1,000 a fight. Maybe if you're a kid out of the Olympics that Top Rank picks up, you're getting 10, 20 grand, but you ain't getting seven figures. Jake's
It's
getting
not his
seven
fault.
figures.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
No, you know what, guys? Here's what I would say. It is his fault because he built a brand. He has a huge brand.
Good point.
So it is his fault because he put in the work to build a brand.
Right.
And this is what I tell people too. If Michael B. Jordan announced he was going to do a boxing match tomorrow, millions of people would show up. Right?
Yeah,
it's about name recognition. It's about being a brand. And that's what Jake really does better than, I got to say this, any other American fighter right now. I know I'm going to get slapped for that, but he's promoting in a different way. And I really think a lot of fighters could learn from him.
Look, we take a lot of heat for it, and I'll let Third jump in on this one, being guys that represent the Kronk brand, old school Kronk guys. But you've got somebody on this podcast in Third who grew up under Emmanuel since he was 6, 7 years old in the gym, who was raised and taught by Emmanuel Stewart and Walter Smith. And Third and I know firsthand, Emmanuel loved the celebrity tie-ins with boxing, and he loved anything that could bring attention to the sport and further better the sport and provide opportunities for young up-and-comers to follow a path and generate more revenue. So I would let Third speak on that is somebody who was basically raised in the gym under Emmanuel, whose entire family was a part of helping Emmanuel launch Kronk, and Third being a real old school, gritty, tough fighter from the real Kronk gym. I'd let Third speak on that.
Speak on what? As far as that,
as far as you being a trainer and how we catch a lot of heat, from the Kronk side. Oh, Kronk's supporting Jake. Kronk's behind Jake.
Well, listen. Like me, I mean, I've always didn't care what nobody say, but like this with me is like it's like when I went over there to train Jake, and I put him to the test. I mean, like I put all like this. Anybody that you see me in the corner with, I've actually game tested all of them first. Now say if I would have went to Puerto Rico and I took Jake Paul through, I'm talking about all the rigorous training. Sparring partners are former champions. If basically, he would have folded in the gym, I wouldn't even but be in his corner. If he would fold, if like any of my guys show me any fucking signs, excuse me, I mean, because I don't know if
you're good, brother. We let it rip over here.
Yeah,
go ahead and fucking let it rip.
Okay, well, if like they show me any signs of quitting, I can't, then you will not see me. So I took Jake through that, and he passed the test. So basically, when he passed that test, I would go with him anywhere to the dark alley because I know that he's gonna be there with me. Yeah. So like that's what I do with every guy. Cause listen, right? So you got what's guys that call me now. Hey man, I want to train with you guys. Okay. Well, so you come out here, boom, man. I'm talking about I put him in tough sparring, and if I hear any signs or I see any signs of quit, doubting themselves, I tell them go home. Because think about it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, think about this, right? I mean, like, I can't do it because here it is. I can teach you all the basic fundamentals in the world. I can teach you all the little stuff that's slick and slick, but when it comes down to you getting hit in the liver, getting hit in the kidneys, getting hit in the chin, getting hit in the back, it's all is going to come to this. What basically, like, I can't give you. You know what I'm saying? I can't give you that heart. You know what I'm saying? I can't give you that fucking mindset. So I take my guys to that. I'm right in the gym. So if basically, they can get past that, I know, well, know what? I mean, I got a fucking what's crazy motherfucker that I'm motherfucking working with and good. Come on, let's go.
I love it.
Let's fucking go. Get them in the fucking best shape to teach them basic fundamentals. And hey, and then here's the thing about me. Win, lose, or draw, because any fucking thing can happen. See, I was saying, oh, we win. I mean, because like me, because I train for knockouts. Every time that my guy go in there, you best believe I'm training them to basically not go the distance with nobody. But anything can happen. But I say this: win, lose, or draw, man, you will see a hell of a TV friendly fight, regardless of what happens. My guys. So if he fight whoever he's fighting next, whoever he's going to fight, he's either going to be knocking somebody out, or either he's going to get knocked out, or trying to knock somebody out. That's what's going to happen.
I love it. That's very Kronk, baby. That's Kronk.
Yeah, Kronk all day long.
All right, fellas, I got to move on. I got a lot to get to, but before I let you go, John, when can we teased a little bit that there's some news dropping. When can we maybe announce some things? Do we got a timeline yet?
Could be as early as Monday.
Okay.
Our partner Paul, our CEO, is out of town right now on a trip with his son's sporting event. So we're going to circle back hopefully end of the day today, first thing Monday, get some updates, and you'll be the first to get them, Mike, as always, our exclusive guy with those trunks hanging in the background there.
Yeah.
And then, I told Mike Third, I said, would make a really good story for Ring Magazine. Mike, why don't you get on down there to Puerto Rico and let Third put you in that ring and with Jake a couple rounds and let Ring Magazine cover that.
Well, I've talked to Doug Fisher about it. I've talked to my wife about it. Maybe we can make it happen next year, because this year, man, with the baby and a 1-year-old, it was just, I haven't been in the gym hardly at all. But if I could get back in there and get moving around, get back in shape, yeah, that sounds great, man.
Hey, Mike, man. Hey, Mike, man. I'm gonna say one thing. About man, I just hope you got a good chin.
I haven't been put down yet. We'll see.
Cause that motherfucker can crack. That can crack, man.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
All right, fellas, have a good weekend. Go Lions,
guys.
All right.
Go Lions.
That was great. Okay, super chat. I brought a super chat up earlier from Chris Bergen. Says, hi, Mike. Hope you're doing well. I appreciate that, Chris. And we got another super chat from Deed. Thank you so much, Deed. He says, I got Usyk stopping Fury within 10 rounds. We'll get into that. All right, guys, I got a lot to cover. We're going to try to keep it within an hour, because I got a hard stop around 2 o'clock. I got meeting after meeting after meeting today. So let's thank you to Theo Third Chambers and John Leapak of Kronk. For those of you just jumping on, those are my dudes from Kronk Gym. Theo is Third is training Jake Paul right now, but they also have several fighters that they're bringing into the fold. Some of the guys they've developed from the amateurs, but they're working on some signings. There's one local guy from that area that they're going to announce at some point, maybe next week, that they're bringing on a fresh prospect just out of the amateurs. So every time Kronk drops some news, we're going to drop it here. Okay. And there's a big story coming that's going to be next year at some point, but there's a big story that I'll probably end up covering in the magazine. So more to come. All right, let's get into the review real quick, guys. I'm not going to review every single fight since the last time we've been on, but let's jump to just a couple big ones. Okay, following up on, since I just had Third and John on talking about Jake Paul. Jake Paul, unanimous decision over Mike Tyson. You guys saw that on Netflix from what, Arlington, just outside of Dallas, Texas, right? I believe at Jerry World. So I did a really quick prediction video. Like, it was literally 1 minute long. It was a short. It's still out there on YouTube. You guys can find it. But I said exactly what I felt, and I tried to wrap it up in a minute. This was an old man. What I saw in that fight was an old man versus a young man. I got to bring this up, though, because I keep getting told by friends and family, and I keep being asked by associates and stuff that know me as the boxing guy in our world, was it fixed? Did Mike Tyson pull his punches? People, oh my God, no. This was an old man looking like an old man against a young man in his prime. And I know Third ain't going to say nothing about Jake holding back, but I saw Jake Paul holding back. I think Jake Paul could have knocked Mike Tyson out at any point. Does that mean Jake Paul would have beat Mike Tyson in his prime? Absolutely not. Age matters, okay? And getting in there with a young prime guy, it changes things. And what I would say, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there who, if you're watching this show, you agree with me because you actually know boxing, but you're probably known as the boxing guy in your circles, right? And you're having people come to you asking about it. Here's what I would tell you to tell them. The last time Mike Tyson fought a legitimate opponent, not even ranked, but just a licensed professional opponent, was in a real boxing match, not an exhibition, was 20 years ago. And he got just destroyed, okay? Beat by Kevin McBride, who was a novice I won't call him novice, but he was a journeyman guy, okay? No disrespect to him, but he was. If you look at the guy's resume, most of the dudes he fought, you know, they were on that level. And so that was 20 years ago. That's what I would tell them. And people keep showing clips from the Roy Jones exhibition match. And it's like, well, he was fighting a guy his age in an exhibition. It's not going to look the same because people are like, oh, he was more active in that fight. Yeah, because he wasn't worried about getting cracked with something hard coming back that he didn't see. Against Jake, he had to worry about that. So did Tyson hold back a little bit? Yeah, because he thought he was going to get cracked. It wasn't because it was fixed. I keep seeing all these edited videos where they're like, oh, this is where Jake gave him a signal, you know, because Jake will like wink at him or like say something, talk some shit. And they're like, oh, this was a signal. And this signal to Mike to not throw the uppercut. And I'm just like, where do these people get this shit? Anyway, I just had to bring that up because I find it hilarious that people think that and they can't understand basic, I don't know, aging. I tell it, here's another thing I keep telling people. Michael Jordan, who is arguably the best player in NBA history, Michael Jordan, best basketball player. He's 57. There are 15-year-old high school kids who would destroy Michael Jordan in a pickup game right now. That's really hard for people to accept, but it's true. Now, I'm not talking about your average 15-year-old. I'm talking about a 15-year-old that is going to play Division I level basketball for a year or two and then go to the NBA, a stud. Okay, but there are 15-year-olds who'd slaughter him. There are 27-year-old professional basketball players playing ball in Serbia or Argentina or Italy or Greece that would destroy Michael Jordan in a pickup game right now. There are guys in the NBA Developmental League that would destroy Michael Jordan in a pickup game right now. Does that mean they're as good as he was in his prime? No. But he's 57. He hasn't been in the NBA for 15, 20 years. You see where I'm going with this, right? So anyway, I just use that as an example because I'm sure you guys are getting a lot of the same questions. Okay, let's talk about Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. which was, in my opinion, on paper, the best matchup of the year, right up there with the Usyk Fury fights. Scores for Beterbiev, who wins and becomes undisputed light heavyweight champion: 116, 112, 115, 113. And then it was 114, 114. One judge had it in the draw. BoxRec has a really cool feature where you could go in there and score a fight. As a fan, you can, you have to, I think you have to log in and like register with the site, but you can score a fight. So the current BoxRec fan score is 115, 114 for Beterbiev. And I tend to trust those fan scores a lot of times more than the official judges. Sometimes they're wacky, but most of the time they're on point. That BoxRec fan score of 115, 114, that's pretty much what this fight was. It was a 1-point fight. I think a draw may have been just. A lot of people, I will say, watching it live, I edged it by like a point for Bivol, maybe 2 points. And you could really go either way. I know it sounds really cliche. It sounds like a cop-out, but I had to pull back because I was pissed when I heard the scorecards. I'm like, man, Bivol won that. Holy shit, that's bullshit. They did him wrong. And then I watched it again. I'm like, okay, I could see how you could shade this to Beterbiev. I do think Beterbiev may have got a little too much credit at times in the early rounds, particularly for punches that weren't quite really landing. They were glancing blows. And you guys need to think about it. I think a lot of people don't realize this unless they've been in the ring. You can be blocking punches and slipping punches, and they still do damage to your face. A lot of times a punch that slides off your face that you block, but you block it, but your glove has sweat and it slides and whoosh, kind of goes across your face. That's the punch that busts up your eye, that gives you like a mouse under your eye, or maybe even a cut. I'm telling you, that's the punch that does it, or even bruises you. And then a lot of times you could catch a punch on your gloves, but your glove hits your head, and that's what bruises or busts you up. So just because a guy's face is a little marked up doesn't necessarily mean that he got beat up in the fight. It's all relative, man. Anything can happen. And so I've been in sparring sessions where I didn't get touched once. I caught everything. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, holy shit, I got red crap all over my face. And it's because I was catching shots and, I had my gloves close to my face and it scratched my face up a little bit. That happens particularly, it's skin type makes a difference, and Bivol's very fair skinned. So that is one thing. But sometimes early in camp, before your skin toughens up, because your skin will toughen up as you get deeper in camp and spar more. But early on in camp, that's where like those first couple sparring sessions, you really got to be careful sometimes. So anyway, food for thought. But let's see. The rematch has been announced for February 22nd on DAZN pay-per-view with an absolutely loaded undercard. I'm sure you guys saw this. What an amazing card, top to bottom. Let me see if I can find it real quick on X, and I'll look for it later. But you guys know the card I'm talking about. There's, I think, what is it? Dubois versus Parker is on there. Zhili Zhang is on there versus, I think, Ajit Caballel. Boots was supposed to fight Ortiz, but Boots didn't want it. So but other than that, it's a great undercard. It might be the best card top to bottom this century. I really, truly mean that. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer to it, okay? But and then I'll give my thoughts as to who I feel could win. But right now, look, it's still a 50-50 fight. It truly, truly is, because my gut feel when I look at it right now is that who can do more in the rematch? And in my personal opinion, I pretty much saw the best of Beterbiev. I think Bivol might be able to do more, but I still have it a 50-50 fight. I favored Bivol to win by very close decision the first time around. I don't know if I'm going to change my mind. I think I'm probably going to have the same pick, but we shall see. Let's see. The CompuBox, I know you guys love punch numbers. We're pretty even across the board in terms of total punches, body punches, jabs, power punches. But Bivol was more accurate. Landed 34 of his punches to just 20% for Beterbiev. However, Beterbiev was more active. He threw more than 250 more punches than Bivol. So it really came down to what you preferred. The guy coming forward, throwing more punches, or the sharpshooter using movement and kind of piecing his opponent up and then getting out? Which did you prefer? So it seems most of you out there preferred Beterbiev style. Before I go any further, I should mention that the new Ring magazine is out, and it's awesome. The new Ring magazine is awesome. I have a piece in there previewing the upcoming rematch between Usyk and Fury. It has the same title as this episode of the show, Repeat or Revenge, Usyk Fury, Part 2, Repeat or Revenge. So check that out. It's on page 50 of the new mag, right in the middle of it. The new magazine has an awesome, just a new relaunch, I should say, of the magazine, has an awesome feel and just look and feel to it that I really think you guys are going to appreciate. It also comes, this issue comes with a special fight poster gift inside for the Usyk Fury rematch. That's pretty cool. And I think you guys are going to love the format and just the layout of the mag. It really, because what I've talked about this before in like meetings and stuff, but like people don't go to magazines for news anymore. That ship has sailed long ago, right? You go to X for news and stuff, but like people that still buy magazines and things like that, it's a collectible. It's something that, you know, you want to collect. It's a hard, you know, physical thing that you can hold in your hands, and it's something you can put on a shelf and collect and go back and look at. And so it's a collector's item. That's what magazines are now, particularly if it's related to sports and things like that, culture. So I think that this new relaunch, the look and feel of it, fits that so much more. There's almost a comic book style to it, definitely a collectible nature and feel to it that I think you guys are going to love, man. I think you're going to love it. Real quick, I want to share this tweet that I posted that made some noise here. I want to read this real quick for those of you listening on the audio. I tweeted this a few days ago. Terrence Crawford, Gervonta Davis, David Benavidez, Sebastian Fundora, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. This year, the popular American boxers listed above only fought once, and they were all on pay-per-view. If you don't think this is a problem, then you're part of the problem. Most of you agree. There is, about 5% of you out there who were triggered and outraged, which is pretty typical. But you guys get what I'm saying there, right? Major, major problem in American boxing. So we will do a year-end show probably the last week of the year, right around there, and where I'll wrap up. We'll review what happens in Riyadh between Usyk and Fury, and then we'll just kind of look at the year in review. And part of what I'm going to talk about is just the state of boxing itself globally, but also the American landscape of boxing. One's thriving and doing quite well, but the other, not so much. Okay. Oh, by the way, you guys keep asking me where you can get the print issue of Ring magazine. It will be for sale in stores in the USA and the UK right now. That's, it may expand to other countries later on, but right now it's going to be, you can get into retail stores in the USA and the UK. Outside of that, it doesn't matter what corner of the earth you live in, you can order the magazine on the website. Now, the website is currently under construction, but it should be up soon. As soon as it is up, you could subscribe to the magazine there, or you can just buy an individual issue there as well, and you can have it shipped anywhere in the world. Okay, guys? So look for the Ring magazine website. As soon as it's up and running and everything, I will show you guys the whole layout here on the show. Okay, trolls are bad. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, I think trolls are cool. They're fun. Anyway, he says, take on Vlad Dubois rumors. I think it's BS, but yeah, 100% BS. Vladimir Klitschko is not coming back. Absolute BS. Not happening. Not happening. Okay, let's preview what we got coming up this weekend, guys. So this Saturday, December 7th, busy day. There's a lot going on. Let's see. Rafael Espinoza and Robeisy Ramirez have a rematch. Emmanuel Navarrete, Oscar Valdez have a rematch. Both of those fights in Phoenix on the top rank card that will be on ESPN here in the States. Let's talk about the main event real quick. Navarrete and Valdez 2. This will be the third defense of Navarrete's WBO junior lightweight belt. Navarrete won the title last February. He beat Valdez in last August, for his first defense, then had a draw with Robson Canseco in November. But that was all at 130. And then he moved up to 135 this year in May and fought Denis Berancek for a lightweight belt, lost that fight. Now he's moving back down to 130 for the Valdez rematch. In the original fight, the first fight, he threw more than 1,000 punches. Now, how will that weight gain and then drop affect Navarrete, who is a very tall, long, huge fighter for that division? Well, that remains to be seen. But this should be a good, fun action fight. I got to think that weight cut's going to hurt him and give Valdez a chance. I'll say this, though. Valdez has been in some tough fights, some grueling fights, and at some point, that mileage is really going to start to show. But I expect a very fan-friendly fight here. Also, co-main Rafael Espinoza, as I mentioned before, going up against Robeisy Ramirez. This is a rematch. This is a defense of Espinoza's WBO featherweight belt. He won a majority decision against Ramirez back last December, defended once in June. Ramirez also got a W in June. So they both got Ws, and now they're getting back in the ring and doing it again. That should be a fun, fan-friendly fight. You got Mexico versus Robeisy Ramirez. I believe it's Cuban. Is my mind slipping? Let me see. Robeisy Ramirez. Because I want to get it right. I want to make sure I got it right. Robeisy Ramirez. Yes, Cuban. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Dad brain. Okay, so that's going to be a fun show on ESPN tomorrow night. Also in Sofia, Bulgaria, Manuel Char fighting Kubrat Pulev for one of the WBA's 5,000 belts at heavyweight. This should be a fun fight. I do like heavyweights, and just style-wise, this should be pretty fun if Pulev is really motivated and coming in there for the W. But does this have any bearing on like the elite level heavyweights? No. San Juan, Puerto Rico, Leon Paro out of Australia fighting Richardson Hutchins, American, the first defense of Hitchens' IBF 140 title. So Paro this is actually, he's an Australian guy, but this is his second straight fight over there in Puerto Rico. So that's kind of interesting. You don't hear of many Australians fighting out of Puerto Rico, but this time of year, it's got to be nice for him to. Australia is always hot, but I'm just thinking, like, if they were fighting in New York or something, it'd be really cold. He's going down to Puerto Rico. It should be pretty nice. Anyway, okay, let's get into the big one. So there's two more. Actually, before I get to Usyk Fury 2, let's jump way ahead to the end of the month, right before Christmas, December 24th in Tokyo. Naoya Inoue going up against Sam Goodman, 19-0 fighter out of Australia. This will be the third fight in 2024 for Inoue. And if he wins this fight and wins it big, which I expect that he will, although maybe Goodman will, Goodman hasn't lost. He hasn't fought this level of opposition. Obviously, it's a massive step up. You have to favor Inoue really, really, really big, but you never know what could happen. Anyway, if Inoue wins this fight and wins it decisively, just the 3 fights in a year thing alone, and then the fact that he's, if you're a lineal nerd and you're into this lineal thing, basically Inoue is undisputed and lineal in 2 divisions right now because he didn't lose his championship in the previous division. In the ring, right? He moved up. So you lineal bros out there, doesn't that mean he's lineal in 2 divisions right now? Same thing with Usyk, by the way. So, man, this guy is a fighter of the year candidate just for the activity and the dominance and the fact that he's cleaned out divisions. Now, there's a fighter or 2 in the division I'd like to see him fight in and around that division, but that's not 100% on him. He's the cash cow in those lower weight classes. And he's a star there in Tokyo, and people are going to have to come to him, and they're just going to have to accept that. And if you're Inoue, why leave Tokyo if you don't need to? Why? You could fight in Tokyo in front of tens of thousands of fans. Millions of people are going to watch you live. Literally tens of millions will watch you live. Or you can fly here and fight in a little casino in Las Vegas where there's 6,000 fans. Why? It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, back up a couple weeks. Just a few days. December 21st, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the DAZN pay-per-view. It is the rematch, Oleksandr Usyk versus Tyson Fury. The co-main, Sergey Bohachuk versus Israel Madrimov. That's going to be a fun fight. And as far as action goes, that fight may steal the show. It just might. Either way, that's a nice 1-2 lineup, man. That's going to be a fun show. Usyk Fury, rematch. A lot of opinions out there. Look, this is another 50-50 fight. And for any of you out there, because I've heard several people say, oh, Usyk's going to mop the floor with him now. He's got him figured out. He's going to knock him out in 4 or 5 rounds. No, he's not. And then for people saying Fury's going to do him like he did Wilder in the rematch, and he's just going to flatten him and dominate and come forward and march downhill. No, he's not. This is going to be another really close, nail-biting, anxiety-driving fight that is likely going the distance once again. Is there a possibility of a stoppage? Yes. Could Fury use his size and roll downhill on Usyk and bully him and batter him and beat him up and stop him late? Yes, that is a possibility. However, if Fury gets too aggressive and comes forward, it makes one defensive mistake, which Fury's always had defensive liabilities. This guy's been dropped by journeyman, right? If he makes a mistake, Usyk, one of the best sharpshooters in the game, can land those counters and really, really hurt him, put him down, and possibly stop him. So Fury can't go in there and fight the way he fought Wilder in their rematch. No disrespect to Deontay Wilder, but Oleksandr Usyk is light years better than him in every category. The only thing Wilder had was a bigger right hand, but Usyk's left hand is much harder than Wilder's left hand. So when you balance out all the punches, Usyk actually has more power than Wilder, because Wilder had a right hand and you had to stand right in front of him and allow Wilder to come forward with it for it to do real damage. Wilder, pretty much a one-arm fighter, could not fight backing up, bad lateral movement, bad balance, right? You could, his chin, you could catch him and you could hurt him. Usyk better in virtually every category, like I said, other than the right hand, and I write about this in my article in this issue of Ring Magazine that's out right now. I really get into details over it, but Wilder being 6'6" or so, 6'5", 6'6", and being an orthodox guy that threw that right hand straight, yes, it hit home with Fury a few times, and it did drop him, but Fury mostly saw it coming because he was looking straight at it. He wasn't having to look down at it. With Usyk, you got to remember he's a southpaw, and he can loop that left hand and loop a right hook in there too. And that's actually the combination that he badly hurt Fury with in that first fight. So he's not coming from an orthodox stance. He doesn't throw it perfectly straight. He can, but with Fury, you could see he was kind of looping it to get around, or sometimes he'd also throw shots to try to get underneath or around Fury's guard. But it's just a completely different angle. And, I was researching Fury's career as part of my article that I wrote, and I noticed something. The two guys that have landed more than 100 punches on Fury in a fight, there's only two, okay? One is Usyk. Can you guys guess who the other is? It's not Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder never landed more than 30 punches or something or it might have been 60 or 70 actually in one of the fights on Fury. It was very few punches. It wasn't Klitschko. Klitschko landed like 3 punches in that fight. I kid. It was more than that, but not much more. It was Otto Wallin. So 2 men have landed more than 100 punches, well over 100 punches against Tyson Fury. No other fighters come close to landing 100 punches. Do you know the similarity between Wallin and Usyk? Do you know what they have in common? They're both southpaws. I think that's something that a lot of people are overlooking. Wallin gave Fury a much tougher fight than expected. And I do think the southpaw thing bothers him. I think the shorter guy, the little bouncing rabbit or whatever that he called Usyk, that bothers him. And so I think those things are going to give him tremendous trouble anytime he fights a southpaw or a shorter guy, and Usyk just happens to be both. So, and then on top of it, Usyk is just on another level in terms of skills and things like that. So, oh, my man here got it. Here we go. Both southpaws. Yes, yes, yes. I also got a comment here from Trolls or Bay. Says John McDermott probably landed over 100. Possible, but I don't think there are any punch numbers for that fight. So and he was a prospect then. And so like, I get what you're saying. But I'm saying since Fury's been an elite level fighter, okay, fighting the top level opposition, fighting for, ranked opponents, fighting for titles and such, only 2 fighters have landed more than 100 punches, and they're both southpaws. So was McDermott? I don't think McDermott was a southpaw, right? When you guys out there can answer me. Let's see. John McDermott, box rec. Ortho. He was orthodox. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that since he's gone up to the elite level, there is something to the southpaw thing. There is something to the shorter guy thing. Steve Cunningham gave him a lot of trouble. And Usyk's pretty much the same size as Cunningham, although now he's bulked up, but he's also a southpaw, and he's light years better than Cunningham as a fighter. So that whole recipe is why it offsets the massive size advantage that Fury has, right? And that's why this is a 50-50 fight. Size matters, particularly when one dude is literally like 50 pounds, maybe even 60 pounds in this rematch, heavier than the other guy. And, 5 inches taller or something. Like that's huge, guys. It's not like it's 10 pounds or something. These 2 guys clearly are not in the same weight class, okay? And the fact that Fury can box and move and do things that a lot of big guys can't do says a lot. So, okay. I only have a few minutes left. I will try to get to a few quick calls. Let me jump to Thad because I want to see how he's betting this weekend. I know several of you guys also want to know. Thad, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just had to get you off speaker. I mean, it's an interesting, fight lineup here. You should be blessed, Turkey Al-Sheikh put this together. If you're looking at lines, if anyone wants to chime in, which one you're looking for, there's a lot of interesting ones.
Are you betting this weekend?
The obvious one with the. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I think Robisha Ramirez. I think he's damaged. I think the guy that he fought. Yeah, a lot of people said he underestimated him, but I think that Espinosa is the real deal. I like Espinosa by knockout late. I like the prop plus 500 between rounds 7 and 12, and not a lot of people are looking at that. They all think that he's going to get revenge. I don't see it. I like that. I like that play a lot. And the Paro versus Hitchinson fight. It's the right style to beat Paro. But I don't think that Hitchens has the heart to stand in there with him. I think he's going to make it a tough fight. I think Paro knows this guy is short on the heart department, and I think he's going to end up stopping Hitchens too. Probably not going to bet that straight up like that, but I do like Paro. I could be wrong. That's why I'm staying away, for the most part. But as far as this weekend, the only one really is the Espinosa pick. I like him straight up in my knockout. but you're getting great odds because the casino's favoring him to, he's an underdog, believe it or not. So you'll get good value there. But moving forward to those big fights with Usyk, I seriously think Usyk's going to stop Fury late. I think it's possible Fury can get Usyk out of there if he somehow catches him and bullies him and muscles him. I just think Usyk's too, this guy, all he does is win. He finds a way. And a big guy like Fury couldn't stop him the first time. I think Fury's going to go, guns blazing early on, and I don't think he's going to have much in reserve. And if it's one thing I know about rich guys, Mike, the self-preservation kicks in at some point in their life. And I think Fury will make that decision to preserve himself and not take a beating, and will probably find a nice spot to lay down. That's what I believe. I think Fury is right at the end. He was concussed in the first fight.
Badly.
When you saw his eyes roll back in his head and he's stumbling around the ring, that's worse than actually being knocked out.
Yes.
You're out on your feet.
It's a lot more
you're
damaging,
concussed,
right?
And yes, because your brain's rattling throughout that whole sequence. He's getting punched, and it's adding insult to injury. So I think that fight took more out of Fury than it did Usyk. And I look at Usyk bulking up. I mean, he looks like that Nick Bruiser from the old Super Nintendo game. He was like the final boss. Those two brothers. He looks like the guy with the earring. I mean, it's unbelievable, the transformation. So he'll be about 225 to 228. He's barrel chested now. That's a lot more core strength. And I think Usyk's looking for that. I don't think both these guys want to go 12. I just don't see a repeat. I know you respectfully, see it as a decision fight. I harken back to the olden days when you had these trilogies and these rematches like Holyfield Bowe 3. There's just something that these guys leave in the ring when they have these wars. And I thought this first Fury fight was a war. I thought both guys got damaged.
Yeah.
It's just hard to see. And I must say, like the Israel Vasquez and Marquez wars, I think they fought 4 times. And pardon to say that, rest in peace.
Yes.
Israel Vasquez.
Absolutely.
I think both those guys literally took the careers away from each other. And I'm not saying that's here with Fury and Usyk, but over the years of the wear and tear, I think it affected Fury a lot more. He got dropped by an MMA guy. He's been on the floor against Wilder. I think a guy named Pychik dropped him early on. There's just something there that I think Fury is just going to succumb to the damage he's sustained. I mean, these guys that are 6'8", they get hit. They're not used to getting hit clean. And Usyk can find a way to hit him clean when Fury comes forward. And Fury's going to come forward this fight. Mm-hmm. So I like that. I like the stoppage. I like the fight not to go to distance at plus 120. In these types of fights, it just something has to give. But other than that, this weekend, if any fight that you're thinking of comes up, I can't really.
No, I think we hit them all.
Off the top of my head.
I mean, you're not betting the heavyweight fight, right? Like Char and Pulev.
Yeah. He's minus 350, but you're like you said earlier. Is he in shape? Is he coming in shape? We don't know. I don't have that access.
Because he's a party guy.
I wish I did. I mean, honestly, over the past couple of months, I mean, if you had inside info on a lot of these like instances, you see guys coming in overweight, like Kermel Moten, 15 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't fight, but come on, the lack of professionality. And then the guy that that Keyshawn Davis fought, Gustavo, he came in like 7 pounds over. You just don't know. See, you can't judge it just based on the weight. You have to understand if these guys are in shape. And Lemos, he wasn't in shape. He was just overweight. And I should have picked up on Keyshawn Davis going along with the fight, knowing he wasn't in shape for that fight. The odds dropped a little bit on him, but it wasn't a whole lot. So it was a head scratcher. So you have to be careful. You just can't look at it for what it is. Sometimes there's a deeper analyst situation where you really got to have some inside info. to make these determinations. If you do, then it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take advantage of the odds all day, and a lot of people do. That's why Tank Davis, his fights always end between rounds 7 and 9 because he carries these guys so his bum friends like Leonard Ellerby could bet. Well, actually hire a guy to make his bets for him. Yeah, for real. That's the thing.
Rumor has it Ellerby's out of that camp now. Rumor has it that he's gone. I don't know. That's just the rumor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe the Heat. Maybe they're on him already because, like, I know a lot of people in Vegas were really unhappy about the Tank Davis swings with these money swings and these knockouts. A lot of people were betting the rounds and are getting them right over and over and over. And I know they're clamping down. Maybe they fingered Ellerby as one of the guys. I don't know. I mean, that's speculation. That's just my opinion. I'm not putting anything out there in particular, okay? Because I don't know. That's my read on it. I just think that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Like with 2 weeks ago, we saw with Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. I took Serrano as an underdog a month before at like plus 140 or 120, I should say, 125. I got good odds on her. By the fight kicking off that night, Serrano was minus 270. It flipped and then it tripled the odds. I mean, everybody was betting Serrano. And guess who got the decision? Katie Taylor. Vegas made a bundle that night. Okay,
yeah,
so there's a lot at work.
Because people they gave it to the house fighter. I'm like, Serrano was the house fighter in that situation.
Right.
Like, it just
Serrano was.
It had nothing to do with that house. It had to do with the house in Vegas.
Yes.
A lot of people did think Taylor edged it, to be fair. But
yeah.
It's hard. I'm glad you mentioned that fight because I forgot to bring it up, but that had massive viewership, and it actually has gone down as the most viewed female fight ever. So that's a pretty big accomplishment for Jake Paul's. I was about to call him Jake Fury. Jake Paul's promotional company.
Yeah,
but
and that's the thing. Jake Paul,
Well, I was just going to say I got to bounce, man. Yeah, we're at 2:00.
Sure. Well, we got to get you back to the old Montero where you could.
I know.
You could lay down with the degenerates like us for a couple hours.
We're going to do a year-end show.
We got to get you back.
Yeah, I'm going to get it on the calendar soon. We'll do a year-end show after the Usyk Fury fight, and I promise that's going to be a long show. We'll have fun.
Perfect. Listen, here, take my opinion on this. Do like a happy Festivus show where we have an airing of the grievances for boxing, like in Seinfeld, where Costanza Sr. Do something like that. Call it Boxivus or something like that. We air the grievances about PBC and all the garbage. Okay?
Okay.
So have a nice one if I don't talk to you.
All right, then. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys. Sorry, we got a bunch of callers. I gotta let you guys drop because I got another thing at 2:00, guys. But like I said, we'll do a year-end show. Okay, depending on what happens with Usyk Fury, maybe I'll go live after the fight or something. We'll see. Okay, but we'll definitely have another show this month. I promise. So enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy the fights. We'll talk again soon. Peace.